just like the other ventilators. It's electrically powered, pneumatically controlled, so you have to have 50 psi air and oxygen going in. It has its own internal compressor, and if you notice, there's the way the guy came in this week and did a service on this machine for us. And you notice the compressor, the air actually is hooked up from the compressor. You go from the compressor to the wall. That way, if you don't have piped in air, just turn on, this compressor actually has to be turned on, whereas the 840 does not. There's a little button in the back here that turns on the compressor. And there's also a little water trap down here, because a lot of times air, because it's taking in room air and then compressing it and send it through, you may get some moisture in the system, so that will be collected down here. And you also have a little condensation bottle on the bottom there. I really don't get a lot of condensation wrapped up into that. To turn on your compressor is here. This is the filter for your compressor. The other thing that you need to be aware of with this device is you do have backup batteries. If your electricity runs out, or if you're in the hospital, you probably already know they have specific plugs in the wall that you need to plug things like ventilators in, and they're usually marked with either red or they have a red dot on them or something. And that's so that ventilator is hooked into the hospital's backup generator. So if electricity goes out, it usually takes a couple of seconds and it immediately clicks over to the generator. And then, but this one has backup batteries. So if you're transporting a patient, and I've had the incident of having to transport infants from Monmouth Medical Center to another institution using this device. And you can actually disconnect this from the stand. This comes out, and it can actually come completely off, and you can disconnect this from the stand, and you can actually put this in the back of an ambulance and transport an infant or an adult. I've only had to do it with infants. But you have your backup batteries here. They're battery packs. Just get one of these out.
Spring works.
Can't do that with the Servo.
They're spring-loaded.
Yeah, I can't
She didn't say that.
one out. But I can show you what they look like. I saved a couple of them.
The 840 doesn't do that, right?
No, the 840 doesn't do that.
I don't know.
The 840 battery is connected permanently. This is what the battery pack looks like. And usually your hospital has a large source of them, and all you have to do is plug it into here, and it locks in. And so if you have to transport somebody, you have your battery packs that you can actually use to, what do I do with that thing?
Do those batteries
Right there.
recharge when you plug back into the wall?
When the
Yeah.
ventilator is plugged in, that's why I try to keep these ventilators, both of them, plugged in at all times, because the batteries are being charged as long as it's plugged in.
And will they develop a memory?
Excuse me?
Will they develop a memory?
No.
And the backup, it will turn on the compressor and humidifier or no?
No, it just runs the machine itself. The
Doesn't
ventilator
have the
itself.
840, it won't do the actual, it won't run,
It what?
it won't
Kinda.
run the compressor or the humidifier.
It'll just run the
Better than
ventilator.
before.
Okay, same thing, okay.
Your inspiratory limb, and there's a little man here with an arrow that shows you inspiration. This is your expiratory limb. One of the most important components of your servo is your expiratory valve. The expiratory valve actually comes out and it can be cleaned. And inside this you have a flow and pressure transducer. Remember we said with all of your ventilators with the closed system, you measure flow and pressure on the inspiratory side as well as on the expiratory side. And this is your flow, and it has it all in here. You also have a built-in oxygen analyzer in here. Right now we have a galvanic cell, and they're not good for very long. I'm hoping the guy's going to come back and put a different kind of analyzer in here that will last a little longer. And it measures on the inspiratory limb the FiO2 going to your patient. Part of the checkoff, of course, will be taking this thing out and putting it back together. It's very simple. You just have to take it in. I really should have a filter on here, but I just got taken off. And you saw how that came out. Okay, some of your ventilators will have a little drawer up here that you can store stuff in. Ours doesn't have that. But one thing that it does have in the top here is a little tutorial.
Oh.
So if you have questions about some things, how your ventilator works, They have a little drawer right in the top of the machine there.
Is that a storage drawer at the bottom, Mary?
No, that's where you take it off.
Oh,
The storage drawer usually is up here on the newer one.
So we
Excuse
can
me?
reference that book during checkoff?
No, of course not.
it's a good cheat sheet.
Oh,
right
speaking
there.
of which, I do have the manual for the Servo I. I probably have a couple of these. I only got the one out.
And Mugplat makes it, or?
Mugplat, yeah.
You can download
Other
them.
thing about your compressor is the little thing here that tells you how many hours the compressor has been used. On the bottom, right on the compressor itself.
Compressors are good for about 100 hours.
Excuse me?
Compressors are good for about 100 hours.
I don't know.
And how often do you have to change the cartridge?
This is changed between every patient's use.
No,
Like-
this,
Respiratory limb?
yeah.
Between every patient use. In other words, when you have a patient who gets discharged, and, or, what?
That's
Then
changed
why did I
every
not do
6
that at
months,
community?
isn't it?
No, we
This
change
thing
it
that
between
comes out?
every this thing.
This right here, right?
When you take this off of a patient, this thing should come out and get sterilized. This is the expiratory flow is going through here.
I know we take it out and clean it, but then it gets put back in.
They have to, don't they do it in,
It's biomed, isn't it?
yeah, bio.
No, Biomed doesn't do this.
I
We
thought
do
that
it.
we,
Well, I guess it depends on your department. We do them at Monmouth. We clean them. We sterilize them and put it back. Biomed doesn't have to clean it.
I thought that those only have to be replaced every 6 months.
like 20
That they stay in there.
If you
take them
take a
out.
new patient off the
Keep up with
ventilator,
it.
you can take it off, clean it, and put it back on, or you have a replacement, and you can just take this off, put a new one on, while this one is being cleaned.
But isn't that why you connect the filter to that? Like, I know at Central State, when you set them up, you have this, it stays in there, it's replaced every 6 months, it goes to Biomed, and it's tested and it's re-put in. But
They
then
don't
there's a
change it
filter.
between patients?
No, there's a filter that goes to the
Okay,
end
for
of that.
section, I don't know what they do at Central State, at other hospitals, but according to your textbook, this is changed between patients.
Okay.
Okay? I don't care what they do at the hospital, because you know hospitals are now into saving money wherever possible, so they do shortcuts on a lot of things.
And you just put the white filter on the
I'm
end.
just, yeah,
Right,
I was
you put
thinking,
the
is
white
that why
filter on
maybe
the
they
end.
use the filter at the end? I don't know.
Yeah, you actually have a filter on all of your ventilators, on the
Mhm.
inspiratory limb and the expiratory
Mhm.
limb. But that's not so you don't have to change it between patients. That's disgusting.
I don't know. That's all.
So they, what you're talking about is send it in for servicing?
Well, I
Oh, for
clean them,
cleaning?
it comes down, I wipe this down, I take it out and I clean it, but then it goes right back in. Every 6 months we take it out and we put a new one in.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. If you have to send it in for servicing, that's one thing, but between patients, this should be clean between
Oh yeah, I
every
thought you were
patient.
saying we replaced it.
Huh?
No, you're clean, you're saying
Yeah.
you're cleaning it.
Yeah, taking it
I
out
thought
and
you were
cleaning it
saying
between
replace
every
it.
patient.
Yeah.
Or what we do is we have enough so you don't have to clean it and put the same one back in. You take it out, you put it to be cleaned, and you put a new one in
Okay, I see
between
what you're
every
saying.
patient.
Okay.
Servicing it and cleaning it are two different animals.
How do you know what they do?
Just trying to make sure I'm understanding it.
Okay. Like the 840, it has to go through its little test every time you hook it up. And I have a little oxygen hooked up here so we can do that. I'm also going to hook up the air hose so we don't
Put
burn
the
out
two
the
filters on there so
compressor.
we can see what it looks like. The two
Somebody
filters.
who's taking the air hose off here. We do that every year. Okay, so we'll use
Are
the
we short
compressor.
filters? Is that why we're not using them on?
Actually, I had some laying around here, but they
She's
disappeared.
probably using it on the bike.
Yeah.
There's one on the spring.
Yeah. You got some more?
Oh, you need to know what we're looking at, so you know for check
I
off.
need to bring those Servo filter in.
I think I have a couple. Well, yeah, you bring one in. I have some on the infant ventilators. I have one on the,
That's my
other-
point.
on the non-invasive stuff. Okay, you already know how to turn this thing on.